Hi guys, it's Lauren. How you doing? So, most people, oh my god, or just things that I could tell my people coming out of their house next door and they're seeing me talk to myself. Beach. Okay, carry on. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm currently doing my second draft and it has been a lot harder than I ever imagined it to be. So this video is basically just a list of things that I wish I could go back in time and tell my first draft self, because it would have helped me currently at my second draft stage out a lot. Like, it would have helped me out a lot to know these things or just be warned of these things, because oh my god, there's so many, not mistakes, but there's so many things that I'm having to now change because first draft me didn't really know what the hell she was doing, and that's the problem. So basically, if I could go back in time and tell my first draft self some things, these things would be it. First off, I would like to tell my first draft self to pick a tense and bloody stick with it. Period. So if you've watched my latest videos, you would know that I wrote my first draft in first person present tense, and I'm now rewriting the second draft in past tense. So I'm changing the whole thing into a different tense. Just take a minute of silence for me. Thank you. And it's hard, it's really hard, and it's really frustrating. I wish I knew back then, or I just wish I would have wrote like 10,000 words in first person present tense and just read that back through, because I had this rule. I was like, don't read what you wrote. I said, because that would just make me want to go back and edit it. That would make me want to change things, and we ain't got time for that. So I was just writing my first draft as, not as fast as I could, but just writing and not editing. You know, I always go back and want to edit. I was trying not to do that. So I wish I would have at least got to 10,000, read that 10,000 and thought, oh, you know what, this tense isn't working. Let's be productive here. Let's, you know, help out future self here and change the tense while we're at 10,000, and not just continue writing it in a tense that you're not kind of feeling until you get to 85,000 words and think, yeah, actually no, I don't like this. Let's change it now at 85, when we could have changed down here to 10. Oh my god. If I could give advice to any writer, anyone writing their first draft who doesn't really know what tense to write, wants to maybe challenge himself and choose a different one, don't. Because you'll just go back to the one that you prefer. I mean, if you have got patience and, you know, you adapt to change easily, then go for it. Try a new tense. Your world's your oyster. But, you know, my world isn't my oyster. My world is like a grain of sand, and I'm just sticking to that grain of sand. I don't want to explore the rest of the beach, you know. I just want to stick to this little dry section over here that I know is going to keep me comfy. I don't want to expand my horizons. No, not yet. Not with this draft. Hell no, beach. So the second thing I wish I could have told myself back then was to pick a name for my main character and stick with it. So there's a pattern here already. We're only like 2 things in, and they both revolve around things changing. And I know things aren't like set in stone in the first draft, but these are things that, you know, shouldn't really need changing. Your name for your main character, in theory it would be amazing if they would just jump out at you. You know, you see it somewhere and you're like, oh my god, that's it, that's the name for my main character. Or you're on a list of baby names online and the first one you see just sticks automatically and you're like, oh, thank the heavens, this is the name. I don't have to explore all these other baby sites. This is the one. Adios. If you're like me and it takes you ages to find a name that you like, then God help you, because I ain't got no advice. So at the beginning I wanted my main character to have a really unusual name. I wanted her to have, you know, a name that you hear and think, So So my main character is female. She's in her mid-20s. She has been called quite a few names. Most of them still exist because I haven't yet changed them all. You know, I'm editing this first draft and she in one chapter is called Joey, in the next chapter she's called Alvarez, in the next chapter she's called Maisie, in the next chapter I think she's called like Chester because I went to uni in Chester and was like, Chester, that could work. It didn't. So now she's called Soteria and I still don't like it that much, but I've changed it way too many times and it just puts this block in. Like, you want to know your main character so well, you want to know them inside out, but when you don't know what their name is it really does like kind of block. It makes like their whole personality and image just a bit of a blur. Like, I was like, what's her name? Like, what is her name? And now she's called Soteria. I hear it and I'm just like, I don't really like it. But out of all the names that I've tried, and trust me, I've tried all the names, Soteria is the one that just kind of fits well. So her name is like a play on satire, which makes sense when you read the novel. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that yet. Not yet. Pick a name and just stick to it. Ignore the urge to pick a fancier name. Ignore the urge to pick a name that no one's ever heard of, because there's no point. It's a name. It's not, well, it is a big deal, but you know, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. I feel like that's a good motto for any writing advice in general, is you probably think that it matters, but it doesn't. You probably think that's a big deal and it doesn't have to be a big deal. That's like, I could like write that on my forehead, like, it could be a big deal, but it doesn't have to be. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. Number 3 is stop trying to force romance on your damn characters, because sometimes it just doesn't work. As much as you want them to get together, as much as you ship your own characters and, you know, pray for their happy ever after, sometimes that's just not how it is. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, there could be a possible romance, but I just feel like I force it to be. And since editing my first draft and currently rewriting, I'm like 4 or 5 chapters in only, so not that much, but I can just see the signs of me trying to force my main character and this guy called Jay to get together from the start, and it's not it. Like, you can have a platonic friendship, it doesn't have to be romantic. Sometimes there's just no romance, it's just banter. That would be another piece, is just stop trying to force romance with every single character. Not every character in my book has to have their romantic happy ever after, you know. Being single is okay. That's the big home truth. Life goes on, the story will go on without romance. But will it though? Will it though? My novel's still got romance in, just not necessarily so much involved with my main character. So another thing that I wish I could have told myself would be to stop trying to use all these fancy synonyms for said. Because said is fine. I've said this in another video. I've said this. I didn't scream it or shout it or exclaim it or mumble it or any of that. I said it in another video, that I always try and look up a better word for said. Said and asked and all that, they're fine. It doesn't always have to be this dramatic description. That's one thing that I'm having to change a lot, is just, you know, calming it down a little bit and changing he exclaimed and she bellowed. I actually used bellowed, by the way. That's not just me. I did use that and I'm sorry. I'm trying to use all these fancy words for said because it's not necessary. And you don't need to do that. It's fine. People just mostly skip over those anyway. They're not going to stick around and be like, oh, she used said on this page 4 times. Does she know what a thesaurus is? Does she? Also, another thing that I've noticed I do a lot is I write in freeze. I know there's like the rule of 3, and I think this kind of links to that, but say I'm asking the reader a rhetorical question, I can't just do 1 rhetorical question, I have to do 3. If I'm describing a character, I can't just say he has brown hair. I have to say he has, you know, brown moussey hair that, I don't know, looks blonde in the light, smells like grapes, and feels like cotton. I know those were really bad examples. But yeah, those are examples that I can't just describe or ask a rhetorical question or do anything really in one single thing. I do tend to always do it in 3s, and I know that is a really effective technique, don't get me wrong, like it's a really effective technique. Like I love reading that because it does just flow better and the rhythm is so nice. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Like how effective does that sound? Like that just sounds really, really nice, and I do it too much to the point where it's not nice, and it's just, you know, it's more words that I don't need. But yeah, that's just a few things that I would want to tell my past first draft self, because I'm having to do so much right now and it's so unfair, honestly, it's so unfair. Oh my god. No, it's not. It's my own damn fault, but I'm wiser now, I think. We all learn from our mistakes. These are things that when I start my next story, I will take these into more consideration. You know, I definitely want to try plotting more in the future because my lack of it in this one has definitely shown. So that's something that I want to change about my writing process. Do let me know in the comments if any of these issues were a thing for you as well in your first draft. Probably, or am I just a dickhead? I do swear a lot, and I'm really sorry that I swear a lot because I watch a lot of author-tubers and they either like bleep out their swearing or they just don't swear, you know, they're really like nice people, but I swear so much, it's like really bad, but I just can't help it, like I really can't help it. And that's the thing, I swear a lot in my novels. Okay, we're just getting into like another topic. But thanks for watching. I will see you in my next video, probably a writing vlog. So adios, amigos. Ta-da, bye-bye.